Alright, hello everyone. So this is going to be a bit of a whoopsie daisy video. I've made several major mistakes with this video, so I'm going to be changing them over here. Sorry if I missed out on a lot of stuff actually, because oops, MooMooCows was very busy with a lot of real life stuff and a lot of background stuff that you do not see because I'm managing a YouTube channel now, which is kind of crazy. Right, so anyway, let us start off with tier list changes first for the parentage. First off, McQueen and Brian, whoops, forgot to swap them. Oopsie, okay, we gotta swap them back. My bad, the McQueen's supposed to be S, the Brian's supposed to be A. Brian can only be taken as a late surger speed unique if you really need to get more mid-leg speed skills. Otherwise, you will basically be aiming for Ryan's activation or Marzenski's activation as number 6 and number 5 for trying to win the game as a later activation, right? Take note that in this CM, the fronts and paces are going to be hella strong. So this is more of a meta-analysis part because I thought, okay, let's just talk about the so-called meta as I know it as of now, right? You basically will be playing some of the horses here that have insanely powerful accelerations because these horses have insanely powerful accelerations. They have very good accelerations, but they only can use it if it's the actual horse because when you inherit it, you have lesser duration. So Taiki Shuttle is hella strong, Saiyan Sky is obviously hella strong, and her unique inheritor is still always good. Major Ryan is exactly the same, right? Marzenski is also very good for this CM because of the activation of 1 to 5 as herself, but not as inherited. As inherited, you want to late activation that one. For Dobo in particular, that one is also a very last second parent, so I wouldn't really care about her as a parent, but she's definitely usable as an ace. You can run her as a late surger, and then you just go and inherit it onto your Ryan, so you can get her acceleration plus Ryan's acceleration. But honestly, her acceleration is more than enough to get victories already. The problem is that the lobbies are very front focused, right? So let's go on to the stat lines over here. One of the things that I wanted to change over here is basically the recommendation for different stat lines. The right side stat line, the minimum stat lines, hasn't been changed yet, but basically all of the stat lines are going to be from a range now for medium. The reason why medium stat lines you see is always so damn big in difference is because of risk and reward. One thing that appears in every single medium is always nice nature, and some people may argue that nice nature may not fire every single time, but what about the times that it does fire? Remember that if you go for the absolute bare minimum stamina, 1 murmur proc plus 1 subdued proc kills you. You go to 80% split rate. Alright, so that is literally what happens if you go with the bare minimum stamina with a nice nature in your lobby. And so that's why I always try to recommend higher stamina, because I rather you overstam than you understam and die to a nice nature, who is always going to be a very common horse. If you ever go to scrims and you don't see nice natures, it's really because people bring out the nice natures are average players. Alright, the average player does not have the time to keep up with all of these CMs, and so you will slap in a nice nature every single time. And so because of that, nice nature is going to be a super popular horse because it is extremely low time investment. And even if they are poorly built, 1 random murmur proc plus 1 subdued proc is enough to kill you if you are bare minimum stamina. So now the range is basically a range from very risky to a little bit safer. So that's the stat line difference over here. The goal recovery is also the exact same. You do not need to get a goal recovery. We've added a disclaimer now. So you can go with no goal recovery if you want. You can go with a recovery if you want. Depends on how safe you want to be against nice natures. You can go and check using any stamina calculator. Just go and minus off about 150 to 200-ish stamina every time a nice nature hits you with 3% debuff. If they hit you with 1%, you just minus off a little bit. And that's basically what happens, right? So this is essentially a way to help you guys to understand how why there is a variance between all of the different CCs in terms of these stat lines, right? A lot of people recommend you the bare minimums, but I always worry about nice nature spam because that is always very common, right? That's always very common. So that's why if you want to also kind of reduce your risk, you can also do something like 1 very safe horse and then 1 very risky horse, and then that will kind of average out your risk. So at least in a nice nature lobby, if anything bad happens, at least the safe horse, you know it will survive. So you at least have a backup plan, all right? Of course, you can always do 3 aces. You can always do 2 aces, 1 debuffer. It's really up to you. You can always go dominator debuffer, but I only recommend that one near the end. Alright, double dominator debuffer is basically the lazy man's way of trying to get a win. Alright, you got 1 ace needs to be extremely powerful because it's all in 1 ace. If that 1 ace cannot win, even though you have 2 dominator debuffers, you are just give up already. You're just losing that game. Alright, so dominator spam is only better off in the finals because it's only 1 race. If you average it out in many races, due to the fact that you only have 1 actual ace, you might not be winning a lot. Unless your ace is of course extremely powerful, in which case, okay, no problem. You will sweep the whole lobby. Right, moving on to the tier list actual. I'm changing several things. First off, Hachimi players have been yelling at me quite a lot. Okay, no problem. We can can raise Hachimi a little bit over here. Sorry about that. Honestly, when it comes to Teo, I have a little bit of a bias because I always see her and I'm like, holy shit, shoot step is one of the worst skills I've ever seen. Like hard worker from winning ticket. And so honestly, she should be the same level as winning ticket every single time. But Teo does have head on. And for this CM, if you want to have a go recovery, you can use enemy Teo. That will give you a +1 go recovery. The unique, unfortunately, I still do not like the unique. If you want to use pace chasers, you are really fighting with some really strong ones. There are some really damn strong ones in this CM. So if you were to compare her to other pace chasers above her, they are not really comparable. In my opinion, Teo is not that relevant, but fine. For the Teo enjoyers, I can raise her up a little bit. That one is no problem, right? All of the other horses, one of the other horses that change is going to be your regular special week as well. Regular special week is getting moved up to Oguri level because Oguri and Special Week are really about the same. They are very versatile horses. They have a recovery inside of them. They just get Nimble Navigator from the event, so that's not a really big difference between the two of them. And their uniques activate at pretty good values and good timings, right? For Triumphant Pulse, it's a securing alt. For Spare Week, it's basically a acceleration alt because it always gives you 0.1 XL now. It got buffed recently. So it gives you speed at the last spurt area and also gives you acceleration. So that's also very good. So Spare Week definitely can be raised up a little bit over here, right? So that one is no problem. Okay, between B and A, honestly, you want to use Spare Week, you want to use Oguri, you want to use Fuji, all of them are roughly the same. They're all just very general horses, right? General horses can just always be used every single time, no problem. Same for like Daiwa and same for Doto also. They're just overtaking gambling horses and they need go recoveries for medium sometimes, then okay, they are very awesome, right? Brian's also the same, honestly. Brian's also like Oguri, like Special Week. They're all just very solid horses and they can always be used and they will always be fine, right? Moving on to the S tier horses. This one, I just put all the debuffers together. I don't want to tell you whether this one is better than this one. Each of them have their different circumstances. This is so niche that if I were to rate them in A or S anymore, it will just make people very angry because now people know a little bit more of what they're doing, right? So for now, all debuffers same level. It's a medium CM. Debuffer hell is very real for medium CMs. Nice Nature is the most popular debuffer every single time. Even in my tiny sample size of collected records of data from other people that are willing to give me their CM data, Nice Nature is still the most popular horse as a debuffer. They don't care whether the win rate is high, they just care that they just want to get out of here. They just want to throw in the Nice Nature and then they want to call it a day. Because CMs are so rushed and people have real lives to do. I also have real life to do. So this shit here, I have no time to complain about. You want to do stamina debuffer, you want to do speed debuffer, you know the risk, you do whatever you want to do. But for the casual player, you go throw the stamina debuffer inside, call it a day, no problem. I guarantee you A finals anyway, as long as you use the strong horses and you know what skills to go and hunt for. Alright? Moving on to the other horses that were moved a little bit. I did move El Condor Pasa up a little bit just based on the fact that she has a unique that can activate at the acceleration zone, which means that she's a very powerful gambler, just like Dober and Ryan, although not as crazy as them, but depends on gambling as per usual because El Condor Pasa Fantasy's unique is not 100% chance to activate, right? It's not 100% chance. Okay, we also move up Marozensky. Marozensky OG, I had a very misunderstanding of her where actually I forgot that her unique activates from 1 to 5. I was thinking of angling and scheming when actually I could have thought of McQueen's unique, Duty of Dignity, and Marozensky's own unique, which is still 0.4 XL. So if I look at it that way, if I force Marozensky into front runner and I don't make her the first front runner, I will be able to activate my unique anyway. And if I can activate my unique anyway, then I can activate McQueen's unique. Alongside that, I can go zoom. And if I go zoom, I win, right? So Marozensky functions a bit like an overtaker, but she just plays like a regular horse. So on this CM in particular, Maru is actually very good. A very good CM for her. She's like Taiki Shuttle, except her unique is just wider range. It's 1 to 5. Taiki Shuttle is 3 to 4. So if you use Taiki Shuttle with Marozensky, it also doesn't really interrupt them. Maru can be in front of Taiki, and then Taiki can be behind Maru, and they will still activate number 2 and number 3. So you just put one more horse in front. So you can do triple front runner or whatever kind of shit to just kind of pad up the front, right? So you can do Suzuka, for example, into Taiki, into Marozensky. And not to mention, Suzuka can also win because Unrestrained is such a bullshit skill. Unrestrained should be shoved onto every single front runner as much as possible, right? So these are all of the different variations of the team comp that you can do, right? Maru is very good. You can use her with angling if you want to get her to first place. You can use her with Taiki Shuttle if you want to get to 3rd or 4th place. You can use her with McQueen only, and that will also give you speed unique. You can use multiple of them if you want. You can do whatever crazy bullshit you want depending depending on the lobbies that you get, of course, right? If Maru is all the way in front, then she won't get shooting for victory, for example, but she will still be able to get McQueen. So McQueen's going to be a lot safer, right? So priority will be Maru and then McQueen, then Taiki Shuttle if you really want to somehow get into a 3rd or 4th position situation, or you don't mind someone else overtaking you or something like that. Depends on your team comp also, right? Buy the uniques that support your team comp the most. Team comp actually matters, but the horses you use matter more because you must build the team comp around them, right? Next, we also have Suzuka. Yes, Suzuka, one of the questions that was asked is, can the runaway Suzuka win? Yes, it can win. Unrestrained is such a powerful skill. The only downside of making the Suzuka is that it's possible to fight another runaway Suzuka, and if both of you fight each other, you are guaranteed to both explode every single time. But runaway Suzuka can win with unrestrained. Alright, she definitely can win. Unrestrained is just that strong. So Suzuka can do a double whammy, which is she blocks the front runners from activate angling and scheming, and she can win just by unrestrained and activate her own angling. Her only weakness is herself. So great front runner Suzuka is going to be a problem for front runner players, but do not worry so much. Not every lobby will be Suzuka players because not everyone pulled for Suzuka. Not everyone got her. She's a standard unit. Not everyone selected her. Alright, she may be a slightly popular horse because she appeared in season 1 of the anime, but she's honestly still okay. Alright, she's honestly still okay. Season 1 wasn't very popular anyway, right? So yeah, honestly, this one, basically the most common horses that you will see are always the easiest horses possible, right? Easiest horses, people love it because low investment, high meta value, good returns. So what will people normally use? They will use Nice Natures. They will use Suzuka regulars, maybe even runaway Suzukas. And if they don't have that, then what else would they use? They can use Majiro Ryan, very lazy, right? Nice Natures, very lazy. Dominator Debuffers, very lazy, right? Mayana Top Gun, very chill, right? Then Maruzensky and McQueen herself is also fine. She may not be as strong as Taiki Shuttle, but she's still fine as an option, right? And then we also have Taiki Shuttle herself. All of these are very, very fine options, and I can guarantee you, as long as you use these options, you will basically go to A finals every single time, right? Don't worry so much about super hyper meta stuff, right? Average human beings have no time to play this game. They just throw Nice Nature inside, they call it a day. That's what most people do. That's what I did back in the day, and I was a student back then, and I had no time to play this game either, right? So literally that's what happens. Okay, so that is the logic for why I've put anything over here. If there's any other stuff, feel free to comment down below, right? This video is basically just to help address some of the specific stuff and talk to you guys about the meta. If you're looking at room meta stuff, you will see basically a lot of Marus, a lot of Suzukas, a lot of Taiki Shuttles, all very, very powerful options, right? But in the real life, will you actually see them? I don't own Maruzensky. I can't use Maruzensky. Oh no, then what I use? I use Taiki Shuttle because that's the one I have. I'll use McQueen because that's the one I have. I'll use Oguri Cap because I don't give a shit about meta. I just sometimes use Oguri Cap whenever I want, right? So these are all the options that people will use. You will not always see Suzukas, you will not always see Marus, you will not always see Taikis, but do know that the meta does support them very, very well. And of course, the classics of Saiyan Sky and Esmaru are always viable. And remember, catapult strategies are also very viable. So if you use a front runner and you think that front runner is not going to win more, use that front runner as a launch pad for the other front runner behind. Also can. Alright, every single strategy has a place. You just need to pray for good lobbies for your strategy to work. And of course, don't forget about Oshi gaming. If you really want to make your Oshi win, just do your best to make your Oshi win, because that is more enjoyable than trying to just follow the meta and just copying all these characters over here, right? But essentially, anyone from S to A, I can basically guarantee you, you will go to A finals, all right? Hell, I can even go further. You go to B tier, you can go A finals already. That's how easy it is to go to A finals. The finals lobby is the biggest high roll of this game. If you get a good lobby, W. If you get a bad lobby, unlucky. If you never activate your skill, if you late start 3 times, unlucky every single time, all right? These are all the things that you experience throughout your Umamusume career. So eventually you will lose, right? So just accept it. Okay, randomness is more fun anyway if you accept it. So last few things to take note. For your front runner, final push is basically unrestrained. So if anyone's asking why I did not recommend unrestrained, no, final push is unrestrained. I always put the white skills. I never put the gold skills, right? The gold skills I only put for the gold recovery because sometimes apparently people keep buying the white recoveries for some reason. So I just put the gold skills for recovery, but for the actual skills themselves, I just put the white version, right? If I were to add the golds and the whites, my life would become even worse, right? Even worse. So even if you just get final push, it would still be okay. Unrestrained, the duration is exactly the same. It's just 0.4 versus 0.2, but I still recommend you to get unrestrained as much as possible, right? For pace chasers, you get your Taiki Shuttle unique, you get your hit on, and you don't get Maruzensky, remember this, Maruzenski unique is only for the backliners because you need to late activation if you inherit it. Only Maruzenski herself can be used as a pace or front, but she's easier to use as a front because her pace requires sparks, which is very, very annoying to go and hunt for. Alright, so that's the one nuance for Maruzenski for you. Okay, after that, when we go to late surges, depending on the lobby that you get, remember that not everyone will always be spamming front runners, but if it's front runner lobby, you will have a hard time with your late surger, so maybe only bring one if you want to gamble. Alright, gambling is not so good in this lobby due to the front runner focus and the pace chaser focus for this CM in particular, because all the fronts and all the pacers have a lot of funny tools to help them to win very, very hard. Late surgers are less consistent, but they can gamble as per usual, so you will definitely get above 50% win rate most of the time with a late surger. So you just make sure your team comp supports it and you are good to go. If you want to use multiple late surgers, also can. Just make sure you have enough survivability also because of Night Nature's existence, right? All Seeing Eyes may not be a problem for some of the more forward horses, but for the late surger, it's a very, very common thing to get hit by it, alright? End closers, not so strong in this CM in my opinion, right? You rather be playing them into late surger gambling positions, or you rather just not run any end closers at all. The stamina requirement to survive is not that bad, and the stamina buffer that you may need against Nice Natures is also not too bad. Just to survive 2 debuffs, you only need the stamina recommendations that I've put into the list. You want to survive 3, you can go a little bit more if you want to, no problem at all, right? So yeah, for the possible strategies, make sure you think about what kind of horses you want. I've added the possible team comp for how risky you want your horse to be and how safe you want your horse to be. Take note that as long as you have 1300 stat lines in stamina and guts, you will be okay, right? That will be bare minimum. But the moment one nice nature hits you, you're in for trouble, right? So just pray that none of them hit you. Even one subdued or one flustered can hurt a lot, right? When it comes to this kind of thing over here, right? And for Xmas Oguri, well, I put the stuff over here. Nothing much else to say. It should be all correct already. I checked this multiple times already. Hopefully this is the correct one already, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it for all of these horses over here. Take note, for those who are worried about the Xmas Oguri, once again, that MooMooCows, they might make Xmas Oguri so good and then they'll make her really, really powerful and then she'll just dominate the whole CM. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. She's a gambler. She's a gambler. She's not going to win every single time. She needs to activate 3 recoveries. She needs to hit all 3 first of all. All 3 recoveries. She needs to have enough stamina to survive any nice natures in your lobby. And she needs to have her unique activate at the perfect timing. And she needs to have her shooting for victory activate at the perfect timing again. Right? So basically, it's just a bunch of gambling again for Xmas Oguri. Her unique activate is humongous. If it activates, she will most likely win. But even that is not 100% guaranteed. That is not 100% guaranteed. Because remember, Oguri, activating only 3 recoveries is not very high chance. 3 recovery skills is basically about a 30% at the 300 wit or a 70% chance at 800 wit. So they would have to make the Oguri very, very good for it to happen. If we assume that people will be only getting about 600 or 700 wits, there will only be a 60% chance for them to have a very powerful high roll. And even then, they can miss other things, right? Remember, it's very hard to activate 3 white recoveries. So you don't have to worry so much about it. But if it happens to you, I'm very sorry, because Xmas Oguri is extremely powerful if she ever gets 3 recoveries activated. Alright, so that's how it is. Okay. Hopefully I don't see any either. I'm not going to be making her, even though I really, really like her, because I just don't have the time, right? Even now, my back hurts, my neck hurts, everything hurts. So I just want to get it over with already for this CM tier list and work on the next one already, so I don't make this mistake. But even then, I'm going for Christmas holiday, so it's all fucked up, right? Everything's fucked up. Okay, so anyway, this one done already. Addressed all the issues that I think I have been asked for, right? And if you want to help out with the Q&A stuff, do become a member today and then join the Discord and then join the Milky Members Discord, and then you can go and help me out with double checking all of this stuff over here. I've changed some of the processes, so the Q&A should be done way earlier rather than way later, because holy shit, this was so stressful period of time. Okay, anyway, that's pretty much it. You will definitely go A finals if you just follow any of these things over here. It's just whether you want to min-max a little bit in terms of team composition, whether you want to min-max here, whether you want to make your Oshi instead, whether you want to bring Debuffer, whether you don't want to bring Debuffer, blah blah blah. Many different things, okay? Many different things for you. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Thanks guys for watching. I shall see you guys next time. Bye bye.